Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Deep Rock Galactic. Now, I hear the concern that many of you are no doubt expressing in the comments. SB, that game looks like a blast, with 3 good friends, but what about me? What about my situation? My friends are too grown up and boring to have hundreds of hours a month to play video games with me, and also I'm terrified of strangers. This is definitely a real thing someone asked, and not me personally projecting my issues out onto you, the audience, and the answer is, don't worry, Deep Rock Galactic has you covered. I think there's a pretty reasonable concern to have here. Boy, that shouldn't be shooting sparks like that. Right, games in these genres are often not very good solo. Left 4 Dead is like a pretty empty experience by yourself. But I think they've done a pretty good job in Deep Rock Galactic, and part of that is thanks to this little, well, probably not this one specifically, but a robot that looks much like this, named Bosco, who will be accompanying us out on our solo missions today. So today, we're going to be playing Engineer. We're going to talk about loadout stuff a little bit real quickly here. I mentioned in the previous episode that each class has multiple primary weapons, multiple secondary weapons, and a great variety, by the way, of cosmetic things. You can change an awful lot about the appearance of your dwarf and weapons. Look how hard I worked on this look. Look how good this all is. Each weapon has a variety of modifications that you can purchase and equip, so you can customize the behavior of your gun considerably. And once you've leveled yourself up to max, you unlock this overclocking system, which gives you even more control over the behavior of your guns, as well as a little bit of a power boost as you move up into the highest difficulty, start doing the hardest things in the game. So, let's talk about what we're doing with today's loadout. Today, we are running the Warthog Auto 210 shotgun. So it's an automatic shotgun, it's a combat shotgun, that's the intent here. But I'm using this magnetic pellet alignment overclock, which dramatically reduces the rate of fire, but makes it a lot better as a long-range weapon. The pellets stay closer together, and you do a lot more damage if you hit enemies in the weak point. We're doing this because our secondary weapon is not super good at long range, and this helps us compensate for that a little bit. Plus, I just really like anything that gives bonus weak spot damage. It always feels good to shoot enemies in the weak spot and get the bonus damage, right? Everybody who plays video games knows this, so why not make that even more rewarding? And then in our secondary slot, we have the Breach Cutter. You've seen what this thing does quite a bit already, because the engineers that we've been running with have been using it. This is the thing that shoots the big purple lines. This is my favorite weapon in the game. It is the most fun, it is the coolest and weirdest. It shoots a big purple line of plasma, you know. We have this return to sender overclock, so if we just hold down the fire button when the beam goes out, we release the fire button and the beam comes right back to where it was fired from. It does cut down on the ammo supply a little bit, but a return to sender beam does a huge amount of damage. Very powerful against Praetorians, extremely good at cutting swarms apart, and we're using it along with this plasma trail modification, so it'll leave some garbage in the air to keep burning enemies after the fact. Super useful against groups of swarmers who do not get hit by the initial line, things that keep running into the area after you've fired. Also, the plasma trail detonates gas clouds. So when you kill a Praetorian with this, it cleans up the gas cloud immediately, which is really nice. Also, before we go in, I want to talk about one more thing. Perks. Once your characters are maximum level, you'll unlock 3 passive slots and 2 active slots. I should say by the time your characters... You unlock these over the course of leveling up. The loadout we're going to be running with today, you can see there's actually quite a few options. You unlock these by accomplishing things in missions. The loadout we're running today has Vampire. I use this on every character pretty much all the time. It's really easy to just get worn down over the course of a mission. And there's red sugar in the maps, a mineral that when you mine it just immediately heals you. But in a group of 4 where people are taking a lot of damage, sometimes there's not enough red sugar to go around, or even when you're by yourself, sometimes you'll just go long stretches without seeing any. And Vampire can really reduce the pressure on the group's healing resources, you know. It's not that hard to kill bugs with melee attacks. Your power attack will kill a normal grunt straight up. With slashers and guards, you have to do a little bit of damage to them first, but the cooldown on the power attack is pretty low. And also, once you get used to the amount of damage you do, you can more easily pick out situations where, like, you can shoot a bug once and then just hit it with a normal attack to finish it off. Deep Pockets moves your carrying capacity from 40 of each mineral to 55 of each mineral. There are a lot of mineral veins in the world that have like 45 or 50 of a mineral in them, so I like this a lot because I'm lazy and I don't want to have to run back to Molly all the time. And finally, Thorns. Thorns is not super powerful against most bugs, but it's important to note that 24 damage is enough to kill a swarmer from full health, even on the highest difficulty. So, little bug runs up to you, bites you, and just immediately pops. It's very nice for classes that have a hard time dealing with a lot of tiny enemies surrounding them. It is worth noting, it says here anytime an enemy hits you, there is an internal cooldown on this effect. It's like half a second or so. So it won't immediately kill a huge swarm of bugs that run up to you all at once. You do still have to fight them yourself a little bit, but Thorns helps a lot. And then in our active slots, we're running Beastmaster, which lets us tame a Glyphid. You've seen us using this quite a lot over the last couple episodes. It's really good. It's probably a little too good. It's definitely like a thing you should always have equipped, in my opinion. It's just so much better than all the other actives. And then Heightened Senses. You've seen the effect of this a couple of times already. It's that white glow that happens at the top of the screen occasionally. That's the early warning that some grabby creature is coming toward you with the intent to grab you. And then twice per mission, after grabbed, you can just detonate the grabbing bug immediately. This is a little bit less important. I think this is pretty good. It's a little bit less important in solo than it is in multiplayer, because Bosco, your robot buddy, is really, really good at freeing you from captivity, but I still like it for the warning. I like not being surprised by the grabby bugs. And without any further ado, I think let's get into it. We're going to be running a point extraction mission today, which is a type of mission we haven't seen before. And these are a little different than the others. In the other missions, you have Molly the Mule following you around that you deposit all of your stuff into. Point extraction missions do not have a mule. Instead, Deep Rock sends down a collection unit, a big stationary collection unit that has a bunch of lights and guns on it. And everything you find in the level, you have to run back to the collection unit, which is called a minehead. And our goal here is just to dig a bunch of large blue crystals called quarks out of the walls of the world. And it'll be real obvious where they are when we get out here. Like, for example, there's one in that wall. Alright, where are they bringing in the minehead? There's the wireframe. See, there's a shell back down there already. Bosco's on it. Good work, Bosco. So, the minehead, when it finishes unfolding here in a second, you're going to see... Hold on, we got bugs coming in. I should probably deal with these real quick. So, you can see the shotgun does an impressive amount of damage. Definitely sufficient. And here's that plasma cutter in action. Pretty good, especially if you can get it to go through an enemy long ways like that. Does quite a lot of damage. Alright, sounds like Bosco has finished killing the roller. So Bosco's useful for a lot of things. First of all, he will just run around and find stuff to kill. This is pretty useful behavior. Secondly, in solo, you sometimes do not have all of the mobility options that you would like available to you, which could make it hard to mine, say, this vein of nitrite here. But you can put Bosco on the case. He is a very effective miner. And this gives you even more time to wave your guns around menacingly, and I guess maybe fight a thing, occasionally. Bosco can also be used to retrieve things that are buried in walls if you just point him at a section of wall that has some indicator crystals. So we're going to let him get that quark out for us. And I'm going to go grab that one while he's doing that. Boy, maybe I got this backwards. He's probably better suited to this task. You know what, Bosco? Why don't you just bring me that? Alright, drop it. And then go hunt this one down. And I'll just take this back to the minehead. Oh, I hear acid. Acid is being spit at us. So, the shotgun, not necessarily super great if you're not hitting the weak points. It is important to actually, do a good job with it. What did I do with that? Did I throw that down the hill? Yes, I totally did. Okay. The platform gun. First of all, makes platforms. Important for traversability. Secondly, the platforms dramatically reduce fall damage. We definitely would have taken some if we had fallen that distance. You can fall an incredibly long way onto an engineer platform without dying. Here, give me that. Bosco cannot fight while he is carrying a thing. He carries it in front of his guns. So you do need to make sure you are divesting him of his large crystals in order to have him as a combat resource. Bosco, will you please finish this for me? I'm doing a terrible job here. Ooh, hey, a guard. Let's tame this guard. There we go. Welcome to the winning team. Okay, so that's going to take us about halfway, a little more than halfway, to the amount of nitro we need. In my experience, by far the most common way to die solo is to fail to get together the nitro for the first drop and just run out of resources early on. If you can, make sure you get the first drop before you have to fight too many waves. Usually you have a pretty good chance. These loot bugs, when they explode, they expel all of their stuff upward, so standing on top of them ensures that you won't miss it. So here in the fungus bogs, there are these air vents that can be used for a little bit of a boost. There's also just a lot of... Yeah, it's a very dark biome. Oh, our secondary objective is to extract distrum from the walls here. Distrum is this frustratingly dull, matte mineral. Almost all of the other minerals in the game are really shiny. They're visible. They're quite visible even in dark areas as long as you have any light at all anywhere. But distrum has a very, very flat color. So there's an quark over there. I've failed to kill him, and then he killed himself on my thorns. That's a little embarrassing. Okay, that looks like it'll be a pain for us. Bosco, go get that. Okay, so swarms. On-point extraction missions, swarms are a little bit more serious. We're going to abandon the mining operation right away here. Important to fall back to the mine head. The swarms are a little bit heavier. Oh, I accidentally stepped on a steam vent. I definitely want to be down here for this. Down here near the mine head. I don't like to fight on the grating. I find that the bugs have an easier time surrounding you because they can crawl around on the underside of it. Look at that. Look at that. It's beautiful. And also the guns don't target them as well up on the grating. I prefer to be nearby. Drop it. Get into the combat here, Steve. Steve? Bosco. Both Bosco and Steve. Get into the combat here. I'll throw this up there real quick. Oh, you know what else we have as an engineer that I just totally spaced on setting up is a set of turrets. We'll get our turrets together in a second here. May as well finish the fight. So Praetorians are super high health and honestly not all that easy to deal with our shotgun. Even with the bonus weak point damage, it takes a lot of shots to the weak point to bring him down. God, I love this gun. Look at the havoc. And like I said, it'll detonate those gas clouds right away. Apparently there's a little bit of secondary gas remaining. Alright, let's just top off at the red sugar here before we get back out there. And I guess I should probably score that a quark so that I don't forget my count. Managed to get 8 whole distrum. Really killing it. Okay, how are we going to get back up to where we were easily? Well, you know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to have Steve go get that. I guess that's not really that valuable because we have to get over there anyway. Steve, go get this one. There's no way I'm going to be able to climb up there. Steve, Bosco, it's all the same. Listen, I can't remember the names of anybody who works for me. I'm a terrible boss, and I learned it all from watching Deep Rock Galactic. We're just going to make a platform so we don't have to wait on the, on the gas vent. Nope. Okay, well, I've managed to fall. Hey, but I fell down to a place where, actually, I probably ought to be. So you know what we're going to do right now? We're going to just temporarily set up our sentry guns here. Because we're going to be coming back to this area a couple of times. There's a fair amount of loot to have. Alright, first of all, you come here, give me that. Throw that down there. I guess we're going to be able to clean this up right now, right? Because Bosco can get this. And we will grab this green crystal that's buried in here. So, if you look closely, you can see that there was always a glow visible through the wall. In the part of the wall where the crystal is buried. So you can let that sort of lead you around as you're crawling around inside of the structure. Boy, what is going to be the best way to get that? Alright, I think I know what we'll do. Come over here, we'll get on sort of like the closest point, and we'll build ourselves a little staircase. You just keep aiming at the bottom of the previous platform. There we go. I don't know why this thing has a reload function, like why it can't just be all of the ammo in one big magazine. Like, there's interesting strategic decisions around combat reloading and stuff that gives that some interesting value, but the what do you call it? I've forgotten the word platform for some reason. The platform gun needing to be occasionally reloaded doesn't really add anything, it just makes you slower at platforms. And then, like, it obviously doesn't actually have to be reloaded, because if you watch the reload animation, he doesn't put anything in. Oh, there's a spitball infector over there. Well, that's a later problem. Those things are real dangerous, but that thing is positioned such that it can't actually hit us. I wonder if I can hit it from here. Oh, yeah. So the projectile moves pretty slowly out of the breach cutter. And it also has a shorter maximum range than I would like, which is why I like to have the shotgun spec'd out for long-range combat while using it. I'm having a hell of a time actually getting this distro. This is not, like, super safe, mining on the outside of this tube of earth. Let's drop down onto there, because I can hear the bugs coming after us here. Alright, so we're at 34 distrum. Boy, is there anything of value over here? I just kind of jumped over here because this was a place we could jump to. Also, I didn't do a very good job of that. There we go. And basically, at this point, I'm just running from bugs and letting Bosco and Steve do a lot of our fighting for us. Well, there's more distrum. Let's create ourselves a little bridge because I'm too lazy to try to find another way up. Well, it sounds like, never mind. I'm going to recall my old sentry. Let's get downstairs and place these sentry guns just somewhere. Okay, well that's a problem. So, one of the engineer's most powerful tools is the lure grenade. Enemies totally forget what they were doing and just run over to murder the big glowing dancing dwarf, which gives you time to do things like this. Finish your guns, or just, like, shoot a projectile, shoot some kind of big area effect weapon at the general area. Just put this down right there. The enemies do deal damage to the decoy, and they will kill it eventually. When it dies, you can outfit it to perform all sorts of, to have all sorts of final bursts. I think mine is outfitted to stun enemies briefly. Don't touch the beam. All of the weapons have little idle animations. Not idle animations, sorry. They have little animations that play if you try to reload the gun when it either doesn't need to be reloaded or when you don't have any spare ammo left. You'll see that those play a lot for me because I compulsively hit the reload button. It's a habit I've picked up from every first-person shooter ever. That up there. Alright, I think we weathered that. Web spitters have an incredibly small amount of health, and so even with a shotgun, you can bullseye them down pretty easily, and I think it's worth doing it basically as soon as you can, because, boy, it sucks to fight web spitters. It sucks to suddenly get web spitted while you are trying to do other things. Okay, we still haven't actually managed to get the nitra for that first drop, which is definitely making me a little nervous. Let's try to put that together, shall we? Also, I guess, as we're running past this, we may as well heal up. Okay. I am kind of curious what's over there. Let's... Again with the fake reload. Well, I definitely, at the very least, see another quark, but obviously my primary concern... Aha, Nitra. Also, I hear bugs. You're getting tamed. Okay, I feel so much more secure now. We only need 18 Nitra, I believe, for the 80 that we need for the drop, so this is absolutely going to be more than enough. Now all we have to do is survive to get back to the minehead, to pour it all in. And while we're here, we may as well get some distrum. We're actually doing really well on a quark, so I'm not worried about that at all. You do not need to do your secondary objective in order to complete the mission. That's what makes it the secondary objective. But the amount of experience you get for doing it is considerable. It's really, really not a great idea to skip. Also, my turrets are out of ammo because I am irresponsible. Alright, Bosco, grab that. I'm going to get out of here. Run back around to our bridge, which Steve is nobly defending. I'm going to try to grab... Ooh. Well, first of all, that vein of distrum right there looks pretty alright. You know what? I don't need a platform for this. Very helpful to have Beastmaster for solo play. Steve just draws so much attention to himself. Okay. Pretty good. Hi. How did I manage to miss that? That's incredible. Unbelievable skill that I've developed. I don't really want to have Bosco drop that. I definitely want him to hold on to it. Okay, so we saw another quark as we were crossing over here. It was on our left side somewhere. There it is. Okay, you know what? Give me this. I'm gonna just throw this over there, and I'm gonna try to direct his attention. Give me some light. That gonna work? No, he's reading that as a light this up command because I didn't get close enough to the thing. There we go. Now he's mining. You can see over his icon in the bottom left what his thought process is, what order he thinks you've given him. Alright, well this has gone well. This is, unfortunately, not quite enough distrum. We need just a little tiny bit more. Apparently, we already had enough quarks because I had thrown one down. I had missed the count. This is why I like to score them immediately because I'm super forgetful. Oh, that's the swarm music. So let's reload our sentry guns. We're going to call in that supply drop that we earned because we need it desperately. So you can see we have a separate supply of sentry ammo. It doesn't come out of our main guns. These shellbacks are pretty hard to hit when they're all rolled up like that because of their armor. Let's just throw a couple of these out to distract the enemies while we re-ammo. You can hear exploders and stuff. Oh, I should also tell Steve to drop that quark. Steve, buddy. Hold on, let me finish reloading. Okay. If you just tap the X key, it'll issue the order to Bosco to come and pay attention to you, basically. And if you give him any order at all while he's carrying something, he drops the thing. So that that X order is really useful for that. You also can just grab the thing out of his hands, which is sometimes better, especially if you're afraid that he's going to be a big clod and drop it. Okay, got bugs crawling down over here. I think the engineer is probably overall the strongest class, or strongest might not be exactly what I mean. Most versatile, maybe. I feel like I can handle anything with this particular engineer loadout. You have a lot of tools; they're very powerful. He has a lot of ways of dipping out of combat when things get dangerous. Gotta be a little bit better about keeping ammo in my turrets here. Fortunately, it's pretty quick to get something back in them. We have to run over to them and hold E for like a quarter second before they have enough ammo to just at least start firing again. And then they can cover you while you continue to ammo them up. So I think we're just going to try to get back up to that, back up to here, because that distrum vein that we were mining at the other end of this this branch definitely still has enough distrum for us to pull 3 out of it. So these point extraction missions go really, really quickly with Bosco. So he is willing to do a huge percentage of the work for you. Boy, I hope that's 3 distrum. Bosco is an excellent shot. And you can see I have my Bosco spec'd to do electrical damage to enemies, which slows them considerably. That is just enough. Okay. Hey, everybody, we did it. We got there. Ow. It's fine. Alright, well, I think we should just hit the button. So, once you press the launch button, the mine head will launch out with all of the resources, and once they, back home at the space rig, verify that you actually got all the stuff you said you got, then they will send in the retrieval pod. If you're starting to get the idea that maybe Deep Rock Galactic is kind of a garbage corporation that treats its employees like expendable resources, you might be comprehending the core plot of the game. Listen, we're not exactly expendable. They are at least sending a can back to get us. You gotta get used to that sound. When the exploders go into I'm about to explode mode, they make that chittering hiss. You get used to it so that you can hear it when they sneak up behind you so that you can immediately start running. I think at this point it's pretty likely that we're gonna be okay, though. We got this done quite quickly. If you move fast, point extractions can be the easiest mission type. If you dawdle or get lost easily, they quickly become the most difficult. You spend enough time in one of these things, it can get really, really hard. Ah, shellback. So as you can see, the breach cutter is pretty good at peeling the armor off of enemies, making you some holes through which to shoot at that guy. Although, of course, you could just unroll and make the process real easy for you. Oh, look at that. Slick move, just jumping right over it. Okay, we've opened him up a bunch. I think we can just finish this off that way. Alright, 12 seconds until the pod comes back in. I'm going to take one last pull off of the resupply here. I doubt we'll need it, but why not, right? I guess I wasn't at full health. That'll refill that. Okay. It's coming in up there. I think we want to go this way. Oh, a menace. That's going to be annoying. So yeah, you really do. You got to make sure you're hitting the mouth on these bugs that are running straight toward you. With the guards, the ones with the big armored forearms, this can be a little bit more complicated because they cover up their weak point when they start charging. Ow, I just fell off of the platform that we were on there. Oof, this is getting away from me a little bit. Okay. Menace is under control. With the guards, they do that thing where they cover up their face with their armored forearms. You can get around that when they do that by just running to the side of them, because they can't see you anymore. When they're like that, they do this. They just do sort of a blind charge maneuver. You can just step to the side and shoot them in some other unarmored part of their body. Alright, hey, that was pretty straightforward. Like I said, if you move quickly, especially with Bosco, those point extractions can be real easy. For our next mission, to conclude the episode, we'll do something that he isn't quite so overpowered at. I don't know exactly what. We'll have to see what the terrain scanner offers us. Got some Crappa, we got some Jettas, we got some Starch Nut. So the minerals, the various crystals and stuff, the colored stuff that we pull out of the ground are all upgrade currencies. And if we run over here to the equipment panel, I can show you a little bit. Where's a gun that I don't have all this stuff for? You can see buying the mods costs credits, but it also costs different colored resources. The plants that we pick up, the starch nuts and the bulbs and whatnot, are all for making beer. We don't have to worry too much about that system. It's pretty unimportant. Alright, what do we got here? You know what? Let's do the mission that I've been assigned to do. Oh, this will be interesting. A Mactera Plague Mineral Mania salvage operation. So each mission, when it's randomly generated, each mission can have up to one positive modifier and one negative modifier. This is going to mean an awful lot of flying enemies. I think we can probably handle it. So the difficulty ratings go from Hazard 1 to Hazard 5. We're probably going to play most of the series on Hazard 5. I don't find Hazard 5 particularly fun to play solo. It is a challenge. It is a challenge for sure, but in a way that I find can be a little frustrating. I think it feels really good to play with a team, but when I play solo, I tend to go on 4. So you've seen these salvage missions before. Just gotta repair the mini mules and then defend the various uplink bits as they uplink. It'll be a little bit different solo. Obviously, I have a lot less firepower to bring to bear. But if you're going to do this with one class solo, Engineer's probably the right one to do it with, given the turrets. I don't know, I could say Gunner also is very, very good at this. Gunner's sort of good at everything. Maybe just a little less so than the Engineer. Whenever I'm not playing Gunner, though, I miss the shield. It's sort of a get-out-of-jail-free card. Alright, what do we got here? First of all, a little bit of Nitra. Good way to start the day.
This is a salvage mission. A previous crew lost their mini mules, their drop pod, and their lives in this cave. Find and repair the lost mules, get the drop pod operational, and return to base. Expect heavy infestation, and try not to mess it up like your former colleagues.
You can absolutely just shoot the loot bugs. I'm probably being too ammo efficient here. It's probably not worth all the extra time I'm spending. It feels bad to spend bullets when you don't have to spend bullets. Oh, I hear Mactera. Yeah, alright. So these guys are a pain. I'm not hitting his weak spot at all. Wow, that's a lot of them. Just gotta make sure that you use your cover. Yeah, so you see, if I actually get enough pellets into the weak spot, these guys go down in one shot. I'm just doing a really bad job here. Okay. This is part of what I love about this game. Like, it generates such cool chambers. Like this weird little slanted crystal forest with the crystals that break as you walk through them. And they make that satisfying little noise. That's so cool. Let him get real close so that we can make sure he goes down. Alright. Bosco, watch my back as I do this. I think the presentation and the randomized terrain stuff in this game really keeps it feeling impressive. Like, I am still sometimes, even after all these hours, I still sometimes walk into a chamber and I'm, like, a little bit awed by it. And it really is a lot of hours. It's, like, way too many hours. Okay. I will say, when you're solo, you miss light. So here, we need to grab those. Let's see if we can't make a little bit of a path here. You only have to get pretty close to being able to jump up on something. You can see your dwarf has like a mantling behavior. If you manage to just hit something with your midsection, that's usually good enough. So how many? We only need 10 fossils. We're doing alright on that. So, we got some packed dirt here, and some nitra, and a fossil. Yeah, I'm pretty happy about the way this is going. Is that going to be easy to get? Oh, this looks actually very promising. So... the platform gun is a very, very effective traversal tool. It's probably the best one. You can basically solve any problem with the platform gun. The zipline... the gunner's zipline tool is also quite effective, but like I said, I've never run into a problem that can't be solved with the platform gun, and they give you so much ammunition with it that you feel free to experiment. Even if you look at something, you're like, boy, is there a way to do that that's efficient at all? you feel encouraged to try. Jeez, 138 nitro already. All right, let me just check the top part of the room one more time real quick. Did we miss anything over here? And God, like, look at the way the shadows creep in, and the lighting stuff in the game is so good. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of what they've done here. Alright, so these holes in the dirt, if you reach a dirt wall and you're certain your team has never breached it before, but there's a hole, that is probably from a Mactera grabber. Those things will dig holes in dirt to get through. It's actually kind of a creepy behavior. It suggests a level of intelligence that I don't like to see in my scary horde-style enemies. Not to mention, that makes me feel a little bit bad for slaughtering them en masse. Okay, well that's enough for 2 drops right there. To be perfectly honest, we might be good on nitro for the mission already. This is a little inconvenient. I mean, we could just open the hallway up a little bit here. These crystal formations don't give you anything for breaking them, but they are satisfying. It's a good sound. It's a good visual. It just feels nice to smash them. There's a little bit of whatever that thing is that makes me like bubble wrap in there. Hey, Bosco, you want to get that while I get this? Look how helpful he is. Uh-oh. This is probably a situation where I could have cut them down with the breach cutter. Molly, where you going, buddy? Give me that. You do have to take the Mactera pretty seriously. They might seem like just like they're more annoying than anything, but that's because I'm killing them quickly. The Mactera projectile... Bosco, really? You have to fly right there? The Mactera projectile actually does a ton of damage. It will completely strip your shield in a single hit. Oh, wow. Okay, let's try to soften those guys up. This is a situation where having the 3 lines stacked on top of each other mod for the breach cutter instead of having the extra field of damage that it leaves behind would probably be really helpful. Makes it a much more effective anti-air weapon. Oh god. Quickly, save me, Bosco! Bosco, buddy. Alright, I'm just gonna detonate it. It shouldn't... You don't usually have to do that. I was gonna save that for later, especially since we know there will be a lot of Mactera grabbers on this mission because we have the Mactera modifier. But you can't let the leech just... Boy, this is really not working. Can't let the leech just chew on your head. Oh no. The goo bombers leaving slow down garbage all over the floor while there's a shell back around. It's very dangerous. Right, we've opened him up a little bit. He's killable. Ooh. Okay. Remarkably, we managed to survive that. Hey, Bosco. Perhaps you could grab that for me. I really, really like this loadout. I think that an engineer built this way is just good in every single situation. You really don't have a lot of weaknesses. You're not quite as powerful at swarm clearing as a gunner would be, but... And, of course, I always miss the mobility of Scout when I'm not Scout, and the light, actually. But this engineer just has an answer for every problem, it feels like. But they've done a good job of, like, even if I feel like, yeah, maybe this is the best. If I had to say one class was the best, it might well be this one. It's so much fun to play the others that I have a pretty even playtime in all of them, except for Gunner, where I have much, much more, because some of the Gunner weapons just feel incredibly good to use. It's definitely just the role I like to play in a game. Stop dodging. It's almost like they don't even want me to kill them with a shotgun. There we go. Okay, so I mean, you're seeing what that Mactera Plague modifier does here. It's just going to be flying bugs constantly, forever. Trying to get through this because we know that there's Nitra in there. It is a nice sound, though. Okay, you know what? Maybe it would be smarter to just walk around to the other side of it. Ew. You got bug slime all over my Nitra. Whatever, the company probably won't notice. Spitball infectors are easy enough to deal with.
That's all you got, you slippery shit!
God, I love... Return to Sender is so good. Oh, I didn't do that right. And then apparently a pair of brood nexuses. I should be shooting this from this angle. Maximum. Alright, unfortunately, killing the Nexus this way, leaving that plasma trail behind, means that all of the spawners, all of the swarmers that spawn out of it, die basically immediately. Nope, don't touch the beam. Look at that. Managed to repress the urge at the last moment. So each of the mules that needs to be repaired will spawn near 4 extra legs in the environment. You only need to find and bring back 3 of them to be able to actually fix it. And they always spawn pretty close to it in the X dimension. It's the X and Z dimensions. But sometimes quite far away from it in the Y dimension, in height. Sometimes you'll see, like, if the mule is near the edge of a cliff, the leg will be, like, all the way down at the bottom of... Yeah, that might actually be the other leg from this mule, honestly. Hey, look. Jed's crystal. Bosco, help me out here. If you're wondering... Oh, no, this is probably the other leg from this mule, which means that leg is telling us that the other mule is down there. If you're wondering why we're seeing so many Jed's crystals and stuff like that, it's because of the Mineral Mania. This is what that does. Gives you lots and lots of additional... upgrade resources. I hear Mactera, and I am terrified of them. I thought I heard... Okay. Oh, I see. He's below us. Not used to looking down for the flying enemies. This chamber is a little bit unusual. Okay, so there's our mule. We may as well grab this leg since we're up here. Ah, that's a lot of loot bugs. Let's go get some Nitra. Ah, and a golden loot bug. Well, hold on. Let's drop off all the gold we just picked up here. So you can just dump stuff directly in the new drop pod. Obviously, it's going back to the space rig with you. Give me this. The gold loot bug drops so much gold that you can't carry it all, even if you have deep pockets. Oh, well, I didn't react very quickly to that, because I was busy. We'll finish with this golden loot bug in a second here. Also, I'm pretty sure the Mactera can both fly through the wall of the drop pod and also shoot through it. Which seems like a little bit of an unfair advantage. I didn't actually quite finish off the grabber there, so I have to keep an eye out for that. Oh, also, I didn't even realize how much ammo I was spending. Well, we can just drop down a pod here. We're certainly at no shortage words of Nitra. Don't touch it. Resist the urge. Well, I actually ran all the way out of ammo. Don't see that very often. So I'm not going out of my way to collect gold generally. At this point, I am way beyond needing money for things. But if it's right in front of us like that, easy enough to grab. Okay, so let's maybe set up our turrets. Looks like we're going to be in this area for a while. So the base turret has a 360-degree operation range. It can just shoot at anything anywhere. You can see my turrets have a limited range of fire. And I took the upgrade that does that because it also doubles their damage. It is often the case that you can just negate the what you might see as a downside by placing them like this, so that their whole range of fire is sort of on everything. But also, I actually think that the limited range of fire is a good thing in a lot of cases, because it allows you to put them in positions where they're a little bit more focused, where they're not just shooting at everything that's coming in, but rather shooting at things that are important. You can set up sort of like a kill zones with them, and this is probably... Oh, I didn't actually reload the gun. Also, I'm stuck on the box. Okay, well, by the time I got that reloaded, my friends had handled the situation. In this case, I'm fine with just kind of having them be able to see everything. There are definitely times when it makes the most sense to have them set up sort of a kill box and just lure all the enemies in there by baiting it with delicious live dwarf meat.
Well done.
Alright, we could just hit the button here. But I think let's go and try to find 5 more fossils. Also, where am I at on Nitra? Oh, I have 300. Okay. We don't need to think about Nitra anymore. Wow, that's a... What am I looking at here? It does kind of have a... It looks like it does in fact have a cavern that goes off. I'm a little curious. Let's go explore. Maybe we'll find something cool. Nope, never mind. That's not really a cavern. It's just a... It's a very small alcove. Gosh, I love platforms. Alright, you get to live. Good boy. Aw, look at him. Can you believe I almost reflexively murdered him? Bosco, you get that. Oh, it's purple tunnels. I'm probably going to aggro the swarmers here. Is that... No, it looks like this pit doesn't go anywhere in particular. The terrain scanner is a wonderful tool. Just get this a little lower. There we go. Bosco, where did you go? Okay, drop the thing. Thank you. Let's just get this in, Molly. So we still need 4 more fossils. This is maybe going to be a little bit of an undertaking. And I've managed to fall. Fortunately, some thoughtful person set up platforms ahead of time. I'm pretty clumsy, in the game as in life. We've been up there? Yeah, that's where we fell down to grab this leg, that's right. I'm trying to figure out, like, what direction even makes the most sense. I guess just out here as a place to look for more fossils. Like, where have we not yet been? Okay, don't fall down. Let's go and explore. Oh, wait, this is where we just were. The way that leads into the larger chamber is, okay, over here and up a little bit. Not really up a little bit, huh? Boy, maybe we should just go. Because the longer we sit around, the more this is going to happen. Yeah, alright, I think we'll maybe abandon the secondary objective here. I think it's going to be a little bit too much work. Let's maybe run over to those turrets. I did set them up for a reason. So when the goo bombers die, they will leave behind a big trail of sticky garbage on the ground unless you destroy their 2 little, like, goo capsules that are hanging off their bottoms first. Part of the reason that it's important to shoot for the weak points. Alright, where's Molly? I guess this thing already died. We may as well... Oh, this is actually probably gold left over from the golden loot bug. May as well pick this stuff up, put it in the Molly, and then tell her to get back in the pod.
The mules are heading back. Follow them and let's get that drop pod fixed. Remember, you can always...
There's still some gold over here.
side of the drop pod. All mules...
I always seem to miss some.
Now to get the pod working. First, establishing a proper connection between the pod and the space rig. Set up the uplink.
Alright, with our turrets, this should be fairly straightforward. We gotta remember, we have those lure grenades. If we're gonna throw them, it's best to throw one in a spot that both the turrets can see it, which is, at this point, like, basically anywhere. And running. Standing and fighting, not so much a strength of the engineer. Running and shooting.
Ready. Triangulation
Totally effective.
initiated. Do not leave the triangulation zone, or we will lose the connection. We only got one shot at this.
Keep the area lit up a little bit. As far as I'm aware, the level of lighting didn't... Okay, no, I destroyed the pod before he started shooting goo, so he did not drop any goo. As far as I'm aware, the level of illumination does not affect your turret targeting at all. And I mean, they do have their own lights on them, so that makes sense. But I just like to be able to see what's going on. The spiders are scarier if you don't have good visibility of them. We don't have a tamed bug right now, do we? Should probably look for a tough one. God, I wish we had a scout to just put a flare on the ceiling there. You will be my Steve. Come here.
Triangulation at 75%, almost there.
These woolly ones, not that guy. The woolly ones, though, are called slashers. They have a little bit more health than a normal bug, and they do a lot more damage. And in addition to doing more damage, sorry, Steve, that's my bad. In addition to doing more damage when they hit you, they put a temporary debuff on you that slows your movement. It can be really, really bad news.
Triangulation completed. Remote control reestablished. Stand by.
Okay, we did it. I can't even tell where the bugs are. I'm just going to throw down that lure. Hopefully that'll solve the problem. We definitely got Slasher debuffed there. Alright, incoming fuel cells right over there, right next to where we already are. Actually, this will make things easy enough. We just have to move one of the turrets over a little bit. Reproduce the same thing here.
System set up.
One sentry gun ready to be filled. Rock and roll.
Wait, did the wrong turret moved. Oops. You don't actually get to, get to choose when you press the turret button the third time. It moves the first turret.
One sentry gun ready to be filled.
Okay, there we go.
Armed and ready.
Oh, I'm out of turret ammo. I was like, why isn't this reloading?
Kill some more crates.
We may as well use up the rest of this drop pod. We can even drop a new one if we want. We absolutely don't need to, but we totally can. No reason not to, I suppose.
Supply plant requisitioned. Launching now.
Oh, I didn't actually put bullets in the turret, though. That's the whole reason I went over there. Alright, so as you've seen, this is going pretty smoothly so far. It's possible that we totally could have handled this on 5, and I definitely have won a bunch of missions on 5. I just think the do you mind? I'm very busy. I think the density of the bugs is a little bit much.
Fuel cells charging. Stay close to keep them operational. We're expecting an increase in hostiles.
Alright, Steve is up there fighting that Praetorian. Hopefully the explosion, the gas explosion that I'm about to cause won't do too much damage to him. Steve totally does suffer from your friendly fire. See, that one still had one of its pods left. It's just going to coat the ground in garbage.
Fuel cells at 50%.
And then I walk right into it, because I'm dumb. And we may as well just have a decoy up, right? Let it grab enemies' attention before they come running over to me. I don't know exactly what the target limit on it is. Only a certain number of bugs can be attracted by it at once. It's enough that it will usually solve your problem in the short term. You definitely can't use it to just hold all of the incoming bugs indefinitely. You certainly need to continue to whittle down their numbers. But yeah, it looks like, at the risk of jinxing it, it looks like this is pretty under control. It's looking for the really dangerous bugs come in from above, you know? Your acid spitters and your Macteras and whatnot. Make sure that we're keeping ammo in these things. I hear that grabber. I don't know where it is, but I hear it. So you do only get a pretty limited supply of lure grenades, but of course refilling at the resupply will get you more. You know, this is maybe warrants a little bit of breach cutting. Sorry, Steve. You can see the little debuff indicators above the bugs' heads. I absolutely stunned him there by hitting him with that. And after all he's done for me. So the Mactera, when they do their bulge up and then shoot at you attack, if you move in a straight line at maximum run speed, they will just miss you. If you're moving anything less than maximum speed, normal maximum speed, they hit you. Also, if you're too close to them, they hit you anyway. So that's part of the reason that the goo from the goo bombers is a real danger, because it guarantees that you will get hit by every normal Mactera in the area. Oh, check that out. A bunch of loot bugs have crawled into the electrical crystals and died. A ton of gold and nitra there. Unfortunately, not super accessible to us because we'd have to go touch the electrical crystal. Being over here makes the bugs want to crawl through that area for some reason, though. I feel like this is a good approach. Steve, get away from that. Steve's not too bright. Okay, hey, that was pretty straightforward. If I can actually get in the pod. Yeah, easy enough. So that's the single-player experience of Deep Rock Galactic. I think it's good enough that I have played something 100 hours of it that way. But it is definitely a game you want to play with friends, if you can. Look at him. Look at this beautiful monster that we've constructed here. The various hazards do add to your hazard bonus, which is applied to both your credits earned and your XP earned during the mission. So you can see there, 8100 XP without having even done the secondary objective. That's not bad. It's not a bad haul. And I think with that, that is where we're going to call it for today. So thank you all so much for watching. When you come back next time, tomorrow, probably I'll be back with people, and we'll explore the last member of the team. And we'll see you then.